Welcome to the commentary booth, where we watch, and yeah, you guessed it, commentate on the week that was in TV and movies. I'm your host and play-by-play commentator, Jamie Apps. Each week, I will be joined by a rotating cast of colour commentators to help you find your next viewing treat. This week, I'm joined by a DJ who lists his favourite movie as Scott Pilgrim vs. the World and favourite TV show as Parks and Rec. Welcome back to the show, the TikTok famous curry chef, Jaxon Carr.
Hello, thanks for having me. Good to talk to you again. How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. How's things? Got the COVID shot I saw?
Oh yeah, I got that yesterday. It was weird. Like when I was there was like 5 other people from the music industry there. Like I don't know, we must have just all got the same link. So my arm's a little sore today, but didn't stop me from running this morning. So I'm good.
Nice. So that wasn't planned. The whole meet up at the COVID clinic.
Nah, not at all. Like we just got someone gave us a link, just being like, oh, because you're DJing and you're out in the front line, you could be eligible. And I guess we just all got it. So like the guys that booked me from my regular gigs were there, and like Tommy Trash was there, and then like 2 people that work for a different label. So yeah, it was kind of like a little party. So it was good. So and then back again on the 7th of August, I think. So
okay,
I'm all vaccinated.
Nice, awesome. Joining the crew.
Yeah, how you going? How's the week been? Or the past few weeks?
Oh, yeah, over this lockdown period, but not much we can do about that. Got myself a shiny new toy in the background there to make up for being locked down, so that's about it, really. I was like, I'm locked down, I'm going to buy myself a birthday present.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I've treated myself on a lot of things over the past few weeks, especially now I'm not drinking. I have all this extra money I'm not used to, so I'm like, oh yeah, let's buy this, this, and this. So,
and yeah,
it's good.
You've decided to become a curry chef now.
Yeah, man. Like Tim, my roommate, got this slow cooker from his dad, and we just do like weekly meals. And I just found this low calorie chicken massaman curry, and it was so good. And the best thing about curries is it's just better days on days afterwards. So, yum, yum, yum.
Yeah, you can just cook up a big batch and it just gets better and better. It's not like, this is good the first night and then I'm just eating it because I've got it left over.
Yeah, it's the polar opposite of normal food. And then I've even froze some, so then in a few weeks I can just take it out and defrost it. But yeah, I'm just cooking it. I'm going to bake a banana bread this afternoon. And I'm also doing something to my hair this afternoon as well. So we're feeling good today on this Sunday.
Very nice. And what have you been checking out over the last few weeks?
Oh man, as I was saying to you during the week, because we're in lockdown, I've been watching so much stuff, and because it's dry July, I'm not drinking, I feel my attention span is better. So I've said to myself at the start of the month, or the start of lockdown, I don't want to rewatch anything. I don't want to get in those old habits of rewatching stuff. So I have just been pumping through stuff that I've wanted to watch for ages. Like, watched this amazing movie that I've wanted to watch for a while, but I tried. I just couldn't get into it. But then I sat down and I watched Silver Linings Playbook, and I laughed, I cried. It was phenomenal. Like, and Jennifer Hudson is now my new celebrity crush. She is so beautiful. And yeah, it was just like a really good dramatic romance, a little bit of comedy. And I remember when it first came out, it just was nominated for all these Oscars, and I can absolutely see why it was, because the casting was great, the storyline was great, and it was just a really feel-good movie. And I was just crying by the end of it. It was not a pretty sight. I was sitting in my room, I was like, oh, it's so beautiful. But yeah, no, just a great movie, just about like this guy that comes out of like a psychiatric ward because he caught his wife cheating on him with someone, and he just like belted the guy, and then rather than going to jail, they were like, okay, we'll put you in this, and he just comes out. It's just him dealing, like, I guess, with his like anxiety and his depression. And I guess it was kind of like triggering in a way as well, because obviously during this lockdown people are going to be more depressed and more like anxious over things as well. So it was kind of the start of lockdown. I started watching it and I was like, oh wow, I can relate to this. And yeah, it was on Netflix, I think. So yeah, a great movie. I'm sure a lot of people have already seen it because it came out years ago. But for me, it was just really. I want to watch it again, but I'm gonna have to wait because of my rule of not rewatching stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, and it has that sort of American football themes in there as well. So I imagine that helped keep you interested as well.
Yeah, definitely. And then like with the father that likes to gamble, and I guess my only vice this month at the moment is gambling. So I kind of was like relating to that, and it was nice to see them like at a Philadelphia game. It just got me really excited for the NFL season that's going to start in 2 months. And my boy Trevor Lawrence, I hope he does well this year. But yeah, no, it's really, really good movie.
Oh yeah, the Jags are looking pretty impressive this year. So we'll see how that all goes for 'em.
Hopefully we can double our win tally from last year.
Yeah, but I think last year they were like intentionally trying to be average.
Yeah, tanking for definitely tanking for Trevor, and then the Jets just screwed up and didn't get him. So I'm quite happy with that beautiful locks of hair, and see how we go in a couple of months.
Yep. For me, sort of following on from just random stuff on Netflix or Amazon, I watched an Amazon Prime show that's not very new. Like I think it's been on there for a little while now, but I only just dove in. Called Panic. Have you seen it pop up on there?
No, I actually haven't had Amazon for a little bit, so
Okay.
no, I'm completely oblivious to what this is. But it's the name's drawing me in already.
Yeah. So it's an American teen drama, and it really leans into that towards the end with a sort of romance love story angle.
Yes.
But it's written and created by Lauren Oliver, and it's based on her 2014 novel. And it's all about this town called Carp in Texas, and basically it's like one of those dead end country towns where people just feel like they can't escape. So they grow up there, they go to high school, they get a job, and then they just stay there the rest of their life. But the high school kids have all set up this thing at the end of every senior year. They play this game called Panic, where the winner gets a big prize pool of money that they gather like $1 a day from all the students. So at the end of the year, they've just got this big pot of money. And the winner gets that cash, and then they use that as a springboard to get out of Carp. But the games are all based on fear and try and if you don't panic, you'll be fine. So that's where the title comes from. And like the first game is like jumping off a big cliff into a lake, and then they walk across these beams at a really crazy height on top of like grain silos. Another one, they have to solve this riddle while they're trapped inside a derelict haunted house. And then they have to break into a marijuana farmer's house and steal an item from in his house as a trophy.
Okay, as you do.
They show you like in previous years some of the challenges were like being buried alive, and if you didn't panic, you'd be fine and you'd get out. But people panic and die. So, pretty crazy show. And as it's going along, you sort of find out that there's a person gambling on the games and trying to manipulate it so that they win. And it just, because of that, it gets like crazy. The games get more intense, and like people start to die, and it just gets ridiculous. But it's a really fun watch. Apart from the weird love story angle, was like didn't need to be there. It was purely just like, okay, we need to target the teen market, and then they inserted that, and I was like, oh, this is, without this I was really cool, but I didn't need this weird love triangle thing.
I can imagine. Yeah, no, okay.
And yeah, that like pushes it right into the teen drama side, and it doesn't look like it had a huge budget either, because there's a CGI tiger in this show that does not look good.
Oh,
It does, like you can clearly tell it's a fake tiger like overlaid on the footage, and it just doesn't look very good at all. And I was like, that takes me out of it a little bit.
okay. I
But
need to see what this tiger looks like.
me and Lauren, we watched through the whole series in maybe 3 or 4 days. So like it kept us interested, but yeah, it wasn't anything mind blowing.
Was it like half an hour episodes or hour episodes?
I think
Or
they
like
were about,
episode?
the 40, 45-minute
Oh, yeah.
episodes. And I think there's maybe 6 or 8. So, yeah, a fun watch, but yeah, it is what it is as a teen drama, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that would be the case. Like hearing about that, I get to a point now with like teen dramas where I feel I'm a little bit too far away from the teenagers that I'm like, I feel a bit old watching this. Like, I used to love Gossip Girl when I was younger, like just out of school and like early 20s. And I reckon I rewatched it like 2 or 3 times. And now they've got the new series that's come out it's on binge, and I just have no interest in watching it because I'm like, these people are going to be like 13, 14 years younger than me. Feels a bit weird to me, but I don't know. I don't know. I remember like when Skins first came out, I watched the first couple of seasons, and then I got older, and then like the Skins people became younger, and I was like, no, I can't watch this. So I just always have this thing just being like, I can't watch teen stuff, but I can watch teen stuff from when I was younger, if that makes sense. So like I can rewatch like Scary Movie, or I can watch like Freaks and Geeks because I'm like I was that age at the time, or like
Yep.
American Pie, but I was at that age at the time, so I can relate. So I know these people are older, but all the teenagers in movies are like in their 20s anyway.
Yeah, yeah. I sort of got sucked into this purely for that, like the game element and like the weird horror suspense aspect of it. But then, yeah, they it's like, oh, now we're going into a love story angle for like 3 episodes. I was like, oh, no, thank you. But
Yeah, no, fair
I
enough.
still enjoyed my time watching it.
Yeah,
So I
nice.
don't know what that says about me, but oh well.
Well, it's kind of weird. I say that I don't like teen dramas, but then I watched this show Atypical, which I've watched all 4 seasons of, and it's about teenagers. But there's also Michael Rappaport and his relationship with his wife. So there is the older element, and it's about this kid who's on the spectrum, and it's the final season. And it's about him like finishing high school and then being in college or university, like in season 4. And I guess that's a show that I enjoyed a few years ago, and then the 4th season came out. And I was like, I've got to finish it because it's a really nice story, and it's about this kid and his sister, and his sister's like going through her own discovery of becoming like bisexual or a lesbian, and then it's him, and then the parents going through like their problems. So kind of like contradicting myself here, but I really enjoyed that show for the first 3 seasons, and I could finish it. Whereas 13 Reasons Why I didn't want to finish it because it just got too teenage drama. But yeah, Atypical. Going back to like speaking about people on the spectrum, it's a great show. Like all the characters are really good in it, and it was those kind of there's sometimes shows end and it's like they either forced it out or the ending's a bit. This show really finished really nicely, and it all like tied everything really well together, and really saw all the characters, the mother, the daughter, the son, and the father. I don't know why I said in that order, but they all like by the end of it really went well. And that's another show that's on Netflix, and it's just like 30-minute episodes, and like, even the supporting characters are really funny, and just about a kid on the spectrum going through high school and college. And I don't think the actor that played him was actually on the spectrum, but he did a really good job of making you believe that he is, and he's obsessed with penguins, and there's like animals in it, and it's a really feel-good show that I guess I'm happy that I finished.
Yep, and yeah, so it sounds like it wrapped it all up in a nice way rather than, oh, we've just run out of time, so we're just going to cut it off and come back in another
Yeah.
season.
Or one of those shows that like get cancelled halfway through and that just ends, and you're like, come on, man.
Yep.
But no, it was nice, and like the characters, like you saw them bonding, and without giving too much away, like it was just really pure. I really enjoyed it. I really did, actually.
Did you sort of start watching that as a flow on from watching Love on the Spectrum?
No. So this has been going for years, and I watched it with 2 exes ago. And we just started. I think she just put it on, and we just started watching. And then every time a season came out, I continued to watch it. And I was like, it's just really good. And then I guess Love on the Spectrum kind of had a flow-on effect from that as well, because I remembered I read that Atypical was coming out, so I watched season 1, and then I actually finished season 2 of Love on the Spectrum recently, and that was amazing since we last spoke, and that was amazing as well. But yeah, I think I watched Love on the Spectrum because I want to support Aussie films and TV when I can,
Yep.
and 2 because I knew I loved Atypical so much, I knew it was coming up. So yeah, Love on the Spectrum season 2 ended, and yeah, like it was great to see the characters develop. And Michael, your local from Wollongong, is the king of this television show. I've heard stories of people like seeing him in the gong and stuff, and he was so fun. It's like I remember this one episode, he was like meeting this girl's parents, and he's like, I hope the parents aren't like the movie Meet the Fockers because Robert De Niro is a really bad man, and I don't want the father to be like that. And then he was like making like Titanic references and oh, Mr. A plus Michael. Oh, Love on the Spectrum, season two. A lot of people like it's not as good as season one, but I think just Michael made it for me, and I hope there's another series, but I don't know, might have done its dash now, I guess.
Yeah, do you think like that second season didn't hit quite as well because people sort of knew what they were in for this time around?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Like when the first season came out, obviously I didn't watch it when it did come out, and I knew about it, but you could see like one or two of the not the characters, one of the two of the people in the show maybe didn't need to be there, or maybe they were just forcing it a little bit. They should just make a whole show around Michael, if we're being honest. But yeah, it probably just didn't hit as hard because it was, once again, they're probably just pushing it out a bit. They could have explored some new people because I'm sure there would have been more people. But there was a nice element that two of the people, one guy and one girl from season one, actually went on a date or a couple of dates, which was kind of nice. And they were like, "Oh yeah, I saw you on this show," and my family like, "This guy's really nice," and the other guy was like, "Oh, my family like, she's really nice," and then they got to go on a date, which was kind of cool, which I thought they could have explored a bit more, but I guess with locations. But then also in the second season, they explored. They got a guy that was gay, so they were exploring two guys going on a date, which was nice to see. And I don't know, there might have been like some difficulties with pairing people up, but yeah, I guess they were just some of the people probably didn't need to be there, but it was still I still really enjoyed it nonetheless. So yeah.
Okay, nice. And did you have one other thing on the list as well? I think I've seen the other one that you mentioned.
Oh, what did I mean? I've watched so much stuff I can't actually
The Big Sick.
remember. Oh yeah, the Big Sick. Oh yeah, that's right. So now when I put on my Netflix, right, you know how it has like suggestions for you or it has like recently watched. The first thing that comes up on my Netflix is romance because I've been watching a lot of rom-coms and dramas, and I really enjoyed that genre of film or TV shows like the show Love. I really enjoyed Love Sick. I enjoyed Silver Lining Playbook, and I really enjoyed watching it. So Love Sick came up, and it was really really good. So it was about a guy with a Muslim background, and a comedian, and he starts dating this woman, and like obviously from what we touched on with Master of None, another love show in a way, and how like Muslim families aren't really accepting. This is what they're portraying, not my words, not what they're portraying. They're not really accepting of like white people or people that aren't Muslim or Indian. And like the guy was trying to like, his mum was trying to have like arranged marriage. Like he kept on meeting women through it. So, and then the woman gets sick, and it was just a really like a nice show, just about like different cultures and seeing what they go through and the struggles of interracial relationships. And yeah, he really gets. Then he meets the comedian meets the parents, and yeah, it was just a really touching show. It's another movie. Sorry, it's another movie that I've wanted to watch for a while, but now the old attention span's at 100%. I could finally sit down and watch it, and it was touching, and it was. I think it won a few awards or was nominated for stuff as well. So once again, romance and Jaxon is just it's my vibe according to Netflix apparently.
Yeah, I remember watching The Big Sick when it first came out. I can't remember why I ended up watching it. I think like I might have heard it being spoken about on a podcast or something. And yeah, I watched it. It was the same. I was like, wow, this is such a good movie. Like, I'm pretty sure I cried.
Yeah, I did
one of
as
those
well.
ones where it's just like, oh, that's it. So touching
Yeah,
and like gets you every time.
that's why I like the genre. I just like sometimes you just need to cry. So I think actually the reason I watched it was because it was on my list, but I actually Googled like best romance movies to watch, and then I went through like there was like 100 or something. I went through and was like seen it, and that was on. There was a few that was on like Stan that I wanted to watch. I want to watch When Harry Met Sally, but I was like, okay, this is one I can watch, and yeah, I watched it and it was worth it. But Silver Lining Playbook wasn't on this list, so that list was pretty inferior because Silver Lining Playbook is probably one of the best romance movies I've seen. But yeah, great. And if you like romance movies, watch that. Watch Silver Lining Playbook. Watch Love on the Spectrum. And Atypical has some romances in as well. So just call me Cupid. I'm all about it at the moment.
I was going to say, I know what we're doing in February next year.
Yes.
Jackson's romance suggestions.
Love song dedications. Oh, I'll do a mix as well. I don't know. I guess just lockdown single life is fun. Hey.
Yeah. And yeah, on that sort of romance element as well, I checked out the first couple of episodes of Beauty and the Geek.
Oh, I need to watch this.
Oh, do you?
Okay, I don't need to watch this.
Do you?
Okay. Okay.
And like, it's one of those shows where they get 10 beauties, they get 10 geeks, they pair them up in couples and try to get them to have these sort of somewhat relationship type interactions between each other, and as a way of sort of helping the beauties learn that you don't have to focus on looks, and then for the geeks to sort of learn how to come out of their shell and interact with people a bit better. It's very much a dating show this year rather than like a competition show like it has been in the past. And I sort of started watching it because they filmed an episode at a PWA show.
Oh, cool.
Like before one of the wrestling shows. So I was like, oh, I'm going to check it out. Hopefully it's one of the early episodes. But from what I'm seeing, it's not until like episode 8. So that's... They hooked me in there, jerks. And yeah, like, it's just one of those shows where it's like, a lot of these people look like they might be on the spectrum a little bit. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting to see sort of how they deal with that. Like the beauties, there's receptionists, dancers, a student, a journalist, a public servant. And then in the geeks, there's a maths teacher, a gamer, a motorsports journalist who like is a freak for Bathurst knowledge. Like they can ask him who won in any random year and he knows straight away. He knows like what car they were driving.
Kind of sounds like he is, from what I've read, and it kind of sounds like he would be on the spectrum, because they do have a lot of obsessions, and people on the spectrum are very knowledgeable on certain things. So yeah, no, that does sound, could be completely wrong.
Yep.
I'm not making assumptions, but yeah.
And then yeah, there's a podcaster, a cosplayer, a military historian, and a doctor. And then there's obviously the wrestling nerd, basically, and he's just constantly decked out in John Cena merchandise and WWE gear. So
a friend of mine posts Instagram stories of this guy, and I'm like, what is this show? What's he talking about? Okay, it makes sense now. Yep, okay. No, I've seen clips from this. I do want to watch it. It's
the host, what's her name? I can't remember what the host's name is, but she drives me up the wall with her accent. And like, it feels like she's trying to force an overly Australian accent and just comes off as like super bogan.
Okay.
So that was a bit annoying, but yeah, I'll probably just turn the episodes on every week when they're on now, just to see, is it the wrestling episode? Nah, switch it off.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm sure it's on like...
I think it's on 9 now, so you can watch...
9, yeah. You fast forward or something.
Yeah. It's always the competition part's always the very first bit of the episode, so it'll be like... Yeah. I think tonight's episode is the makeover episode.
Okay, they're always fun.
In a couple of weeks, we get the wrestling one, so I'll watch that full episode and report back, but the rest of them is going to skim through. And then the last thing I watched this week was the final episode. Final episode, is that the way to say it? I don't know. The final movie in the Fear Street trilogy.
Oh, I've heard about these.
So yeah, these are on Netflix. It's 3 full-length feature films, and they released them over 3 Fridays. So they started 2 weeks ago. They finished last night, or Friday night. We're lost in days now. The joys of lockdown.
Every day's the same.
It's like, what day is it? And they're based on R.L. Stine books.
Oh!
And like the first one is set in 1994, and then we're like, I can't remember what the second one is, like 1876, and then the last one is 1666. And it's all about this curse that has plagued this town of Shadyside for 300 years. And final one goes all the way back to 1666 and explains where the curse came from and who was responsible for it.
Okay.
It's really cool. Like, I like the idea of doing, hey, we're Netflix, like releasing 3 feature films in 3 weeks that all connect together makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
these were originally meant to release in cinemas a month apart,
Okay.
which I don't think would have done well. Like, I think releasing them on Netflix probably served the story better because they're closer together and there's no like downside to being like, I'll give the first one a watch, see if I like it, and then if I do, I can watch the next 2. Like, there's
Yeah.
no, I've just spent $30 on this and I hate it type thing.
Yeah, of course.
And yeah, like the 1994 one has so much nostalgia packed in there too. Like, all the music is all from the 90s, all the like references and stuff are all 90s. There's a couple of like modern references as well. It just does a great job of like capturing that slasher 90s slasher aesthetic. Oh, I think Jackson might have froze. Hello. Jackson. Alrighty, hang on a second. We will be right back. Alright, and we're back. So yeah, like Fear Street just does a really cool job of capturing those, like, the vibes of the movies that they're sort of based on, like the 90s slasher flick, the 70s and 80s, like Friday the 13th type flick. And then this one has a little bit more like, did you ever watch the movie The Witch?
No.
Okay, so it's like a horror movie set in like colonial times in the US, so the first sort of settlements and stuff, which is really cool. The second one was a bit of a lull in the series, and the third one does a great job of sort of coming back and finishing on a high note. But I think the first episode, the 1994, is easily the standout movie of the trilogy.
Cool. I'm not the biggest like horror movie person, to be honest. That's why I didn't say The Witch, but the fact it's like R.L. Stein and the 90s stuff, it's definitely something I feel I could like sink my teeth into because R.L. Stein was a big part of my childhood, reading all the Goosebumps books. So, okay, that's something I'm going to have to watch in my lockdown period over the next 2 weeks for sure.
Yep. It's it feels like it's a better adaptation of an R.L. Stein book than the Goosebumps movie was. I enjoyed these
cool.
way more. So
awesome. Yeah, okay.
That's always a plus.
Yeah, definitely.
But when you watch the third one, make sure you watch all the way to the end credits.
Okay. Yep.
Nice little teaser there for some future stuff.
Yeah, nice. Cool. I like it.
I think that's everything on our list. What would be your top recommendation for the week?
I'm going to go with Silver Linings Playbook. I know it's a bit old, but that movie just really hit me. Like, it was just one. I need to watch it again. It was just wonderful. It just had everything. Great cast, great storyline, great acting, great, everything. So yeah, I definitely would recommend that for sure.
Alrighty.
How about yourself?
For me, I recommended Fear Street last week, so this week I would say Panic. Like, as long as you go in knowing that, hey, it's just a teen drama, you'll enjoy the series.
Okay.
Alrighty, thank you everyone for listening to the commentary booth. If you enjoyed the show, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe on podcast services and here on Twitch. You can follow Jaxon on Twitter at Deckhead, and you can follow me on social media at JamieUpsMedia and at Pario Magazine. We're now also obviously here on Twitch. We're on Discord as well, so come over there and join us and chat about all the movies and TV shows that you've been watching. The Commentary Booth is a fan-funded production of Jamie Apps Media. You can support the podcast alongside our magazine, Pario Magazine, over at Patreon at patreon.com/Jamie Apps Media. The following people supported at the Jam Publisher level or higher, and you cannot fathom how incredibly appreciative we are for their support. Brian and June Hart, Courtney Paulson, Tracy Apps. Cheers and goodbye.